Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Adobe Live with our UK creative community. Every day we're here and it's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. We're on our 33rd stream, the big 3-3. I don't even know what that means. But, if we make it to 50, I mean, you can expect us to go all out, right, Rufus?
That's right. The 33rd stream from the sofa. Yes. I finally have a sofa here, and yeah, I'm so glad that that you're all back here in the chat. Wow, so busy. We're gonna have to find moderators for the chat, I think. There's so much happening in here. It's great, and we have an incredible guest today. Do you want to introduce her, Emma?
Sure. I mean, today we're joined by Lucy, who's based in London. I know we have a lot of Londoners, but there's just great talent as well there. So we have Lucy and we're delighted to have you. She has a studio based in London. I'm sure you'll tell us a bit more about that. You play with a kind of physical, virtual, interactive world and these kind of phenomenal projects of 3D visuals and shapes that live in space. So it feels like we're jumping into a sci-fi film today, but you're real, Lucy. Can you introduce yourself? Tell us a bit more about your world.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. My name is Lucy Hardcastle. I am a digital artist and an interdisciplinary designer. And I have a studio here in South London. And we do a lot of work that is either digital or plays with the physical elements that are still somehow connected to a digital narrative. Can you guys hear me okay if I speak like this? Because I can hear myself in the other earphone.
Oh, yes, we can hear you fine.
We can hear you perfectly, yeah.
Okay, cool.
You can go ahead like this.
Yeah, I can still... Hang on. Sorry, I've got two earphones for the iMac and the iPad. Anyway, as I was saying, we have a interdisciplinary creative studio and we do a whole range of different projects. We do a lot of animation and moving image. We do AR, VR work that is for spaces or installations, as well as web designed work. So we play with themes like poetic data visualization and material speculativism. And yeah, we do a whole range of things, but it all exists under this concept of sensual storytelling for the digital age. So that's kind of our base theme, I would say.
And Lucy, about your own background, you come from a textile design background, if I'm correct. How did you go from there and jump into the studio, and dive into this world?
Yeah, I studied textiles for my BA, and I was always drawn to how we could link the elements that we can see with elements that we're able to touch. So that idea of communication, linking sight and touch, was always really important to me. And I think I wanted to begin with textiles because I felt like fabric has such a flexibility and movement to it. And doing something like print design is kind of ideal for someone who is visual in any sense. And you can really play with processes. I specialized in digital print, but I also did a lot of screen printing as well. So it was just a really fun way to explore both physical processes and learn digital softwares.
Brilliant. And can we just have a look at some of the projects you have here on the studio and you've worked on?
So this is my website, my online portfolio, and this is the studio page. So we have kind of a huge range of outcomes of work. So for example, we have some sculpture pieces that I did for Uniqlo in collaboration with It's Nice That. So this was commissioned for a particular product for Uniqlo. And they they were really open about what I could create for this. So I thought it could be really different and beautiful to make sculptures that resemble the qualities of that product, which I think is probably quite different than what you'd maybe expect for that kind of brief. And then we also have kind of traditional animation. So this piece was commissioned by Nordic Health Lab, who are a organization that's all about holistic healthcare. So a very different type of client. And we decided to make a piece of work that really tried to create characters out of these huge themes that they had. So things like nature and community, but make it feel like it could work for a healthcare client, which is, you know, an exciting challenge, I'd say. And then we have, what could be fun to look at? I mean, Calistasis is a really exciting project that we did last year, which was a physical installation that was interactive, that was on display at the V&A during London Design Festival. And that was in collaboration with King's College London. So we worked with the cardio imaging scientists there to kind of create this installation that was technically about blood flow, but we had to make it engaging and sexy and exciting. So this was 5 meters tall. So that was a really fun.
Sandrine says that's quite rad, and I think that's an understatement.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really mesmerizing to be inside because it had this up and down motion to it. So it kind of felt like when you stood inside this tunnel, it felt like you were almost being pulled upwards. So that was really fun. And right now we're working on making a VR version of it. Yeah, and then today I was planning on showing you guys some of my storyboarding process for a project that actually was for AR as the final outcome. And the project is called the Mirage, which was commissioned by 29 Rooms in collaboration with Spark AR and was on tour late last year in America. So we were briefed to design a multi-room installation, essentially, where the final end goal was to have these AR animations appear. So we created different characters based on this concept of the Mirage. So we kind of went back to the origin of the Mirage and the idea of illusions and oases and kind of metamorphic things that could happen in nature, and created all these different characters.
Lucy, can you tell us a bit more about 29 Rooms? Because that's a project that was created by Refinery 29, right?
Yes, yeah, that's correct. I believe they do it at least once a year or have multiple tours, but then they launch new projects each year. But it was really fun because there was so much creative freedom to this project and the brief. And I worked with the team in New York who were part of Refinery 29. And then we also had the tech vendor, which was the Mill, the production company. So that was really great to have those guys involved. And this project was only a 2-month production. So it was a really quick turnaround.
Wow. How do you keep up with all these technologies and, because it must be overwhelming at a certain point, but how do you, keep track of everything, and how do you get all these players together and create these things?
I think it's putting aside time to do your own research and also always be hunting for collaborators or new team members who are already active in doing their own research. And I find that when you have amazing team members, like we have animators who are part of our core LHS team here, who are already on it and are always teaching themselves new softwares, which just means that you kind of have this wealth of knowledge that's always being replenished in a way. Because I can't do it all myself.
Yeah, you actually have a research section to your website as well, where I saw you had plenty of personal projects, and I guess that answers also Rufus's question on, where do you find the time to explore these and play around? Because we're talking about some really deep, subjects here as well, and we're picking everyone's brains in the chat again today. But this week is really full on, and I think this is just fascinating.
Yeah, I think that personal work and commercial work should really inform one another. So when I guess commission myself to do self-initiated pieces, I treat them like they're part of the schedule. They're non-negotiable with the other commercial projects that we have coming in. And I think it's so important to update those, because that's always what the clients are interested in, is what you're kind of thinking about separately from the workplace. So yeah, I mean, at the moment we have self-initiated work as well as commercial work on, and to me that's a really good balance for, I guess, my well-being as a creative as well, to make sure that I'm working on things that like are exciting in different ways.
Brilliant. I mean, we're so excited to see more of this. I heard your session today is going to be playing with Capture as well, so we're excited to have that.
Yeah. So today we're going to be going through different elements of the Mirage project, specifically for the mimicry character, which is this character that you'll see here, which kind of became our hero character. But I guess we may as well get started.
Let's do this.
Why not?
Okay, cool. So I am going to switch to my iPad now. Yeah.
Some tech transition. This would be typically the ad break.
Okay.
I've moved. Tim is working his magic.
Tim is working the magic.
This is why we also have magical Tim, wizard.
Okay, can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Perfect. Right. So here is the Adobe Capture app for anyone that hasn't seen it. And what I love about this... Yes. Okay. Is that better?
Perfect.
Brilliant.
Cool. Okay. So I love the Adobe Capture app because it's a way of creating different tools. So today in particular, I'm going to be using it for storyboarding. And what I think is really great about this is that it cuts out a lot of the different layers that I would normally go through. So normally I would, I'll show you. Okay. So actually, so there's a bunch of things that you can do with it. So normally when I create my storyboards, I would draw them as I've done here, and then I would have to put them onto Illustrator, and then I would image trace on Illustrator to tidy them up. But whereas on the Adobe Capture app, you can immediately capture them here and turn them directly into SVGs or images that use image trace. So yeah, these are these are the original sketches from the 29 Rooms project for the mimicry character. Then we also have the powder character and the eclipse character. So these are the ones we're going to be focusing on today. And you can see on the Adobe Capture app that you can create your own materials that you could use in 3D software. You can also scan type, which is really interesting. And then you can also collect colors from things that are around you and basically create your own color palette in a way. So there's loads of different things you can do with it. So this is how I would capture these shapes. And I don't know if you can see the difference, but on one side I've drawn it with pen, and then on the other side I've drawn it with pencil, because I know that it's going to be easier to tidy up in Photoshop. So you take it here and then you can play with this kind of parameter to see how sharp you can get it. So I'll take the photo. And then just like that, I can crop it. And then this is a really fun part where it smooths it and it's kind of immediately usable, or at least the pen side is.
The cool thing is that you can zoom in indefinitely and like check these are actually vectors, right?
Exactly, yeah. So then you can save it to your cloud library. And then
I can see that you've been using that a lot. Like that's already shape 273.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
I use it for pretty much all my storyboarding. Because it's just so quick. I can sit down and do a sketch and immediately have it tidied up and be presentable for a client. Yeah, so I've already put all these files on my desktop, so we can technically leave the iPad now and go back to the desktop.
That was nice and quick. And we can also go into the chat for a little bit as well in the meantime, because we have loads of people who are saying hi. And already over 500 people who are joining us. So that's brilliant. Wow. And Stuart is saying, my 7-year-old doesn't think this is live. Can you say hi to Alex? Hi, Alex. I hope you're watching. Hi. And I hope you come back. Yeah. Hi to everyone who's joining in. It's great seeing you again.
Okay.
And we're back.
Yes, we're back. So the files, I'll bring the files into Photoshop. So here they are. Ready to play with.
And that's really the cool thing about this capture app, and everyone in the chat who hasn't tried it yet, you know, please do, because there's so many things you can do with it. You can recognize fonts, like Lucy said. You can make materials for 3D objects that you can also use in Adobe Dimension. You can make color palettes from a beautiful scenery, for example, or a photograph. There's so many things that you can actually capture with Adobe Capture. No pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm just going to lay them out one by one on Photoshop. And then once I've tidied up those files, I am going to go in and essentially color them in and kind of give them a bit of life and a bit of additional layers to, I guess, really help communicate the elements of that specific character. So just to show you guys some of the development that we did for the project, this is a collage that we did at the beginning when we were figuring out the character, where we just put a bunch of shapes together because we knew we almost wanted this like origami look to it. So that was a digital file that we rendered. And then this is kind of the mother file of all the kind of different collaging elements that we ended up using. So you can kind of see on the mural that we made based on the character that we took a lot of those collage elements and then applied it to this mural that was half printed fabric and then half projected video. And what was really cool about this, which you probably, I mean, you can't necessarily tell just by looking at this image, but we were able to set up scannable image triggers for the AR characters within things like this projected image. So it acted the same way as QR codes, but it didn't look like a QR code. So this is someone scanning that image, which I thought was really cool and felt really innovative to have all these kind of hidden triggers for AR. So that was a really exciting part of the project.
And we have a lot of people who have been meaning to try capture, so I feel like today's session is really spot on for everyone to get an extra push and use this time to try it out. Jackie's saying that she downloaded the app to her phone after one of the lives, but hasn't used it yet. Same for Hannah. So yeah, loads of ideas today to try it out. And Sandrine is saying the best thing I created to capture is brushes for Photoshop, made from my own ink drawings.
That's right. You can create brushes too. I forgot that. There's so many things to capture. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I originally came across it because another textile friend of mine was like, look, you can make color palettes just from a photo that you take. And I was like, that's so handy. And then I discovered all the other tools. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I do really love the kind of traditional physical process of drawing. So I really like that I can sketch something quickly and maybe overline it in pen, and then it's immediately usable, and I don't necessarily have to like get a tablet out or go onto Illustrator to kind of bring those ideas to life.
There's another app, you know, that you could sketch with on the iPad, and that's Adobe Fresco. Basically, you can sketch in vectors there as well, and export it as a PDF into the cloud and do the exact same thing. So from basically not even scanning it anymore, just sketching in vectors, and then or having a layer with pencil sketches and then drawing over it in vectors on the iPad, and then have it ready for vector. Yeah, vector.
Cool, that's nice.
My words are failing me today. Yeah.
Vector everything. It's Wednesday, it's fine, halfway through the week. But yeah, we had Jing yesterday who was telling us she's purely digital. She doesn't touch, you know, a pen and paper. And yeah, it's creative process completely different. It's what you used to as well, I guess, you know, from your background in maybe textile design, you were kind of hands-on, and you've kept that as part of your, you know, creative tradition.
Yeah, for sure. I think people, when they see my work, they maybe assume that I do everything digitally, but I'm very much like a paper and pencil kind of person, especially if we're in meetings or we're brainstorming. Sometimes I feel like if I don't physically write something down, it's not as real as if I write it as a note in my phone. You know, there's something about that process of writing that, yeah, makes things kind of feel legitimate and means that you kind of have to have a memory for it. I feel like if you write it in your phone, then it's like it didn't exist.
This is why we weren't allowed laptops in school. I remember still teachers were like, you're going to write because it'll get imprinted in your brain forever.
To teach graphic design to, like beginner, intermediate, and advanced students for quite some years. And they all hated me because the first 3 months, they weren't allowed to touch a computer.
And they're like, graphic design, what?
But, I mean, come on, Rufus, dude. No. Sketches.
Dude.
Now they
I hope some of them watch. Yeah.
Most of them. Yeah.
Okay, so that is all ready to go. So now I'm going to take some elements from here and start kind of bringing things to life a bit. So I feel like with this character, we went from things being quite soft and muted to things being highly detailed. So I'm going to take, what do we have? Take this one. And this is all photography that I took myself as well, with a macro lens. That's just a really nice way of, having almost like a library of organic textures, I suppose.
And it's not only your work that's so layered, but the vocabulary you use is also so precise. And I love that already. It's already so poetic and clear, right? Because you describe every piece and part of your process very clearly and precisely.
Thank you. That's very kind. But yeah, we use these types of images for the mural that I was showing you guys earlier, and that was a huge file because the final piece was 30 feet by 15 feet long, and I had to set that up in Photoshop, which was just mental. Yeah.
And the birds are still singing away from Rufus's side. If anyone missed the session yesterday, Rufus has set up a really interesting live streaming office, which might involve being outside in Florence. We're all very jealous.
Yeah, Carrie, it may look weird to you if with Photoshop with a white workspace, but that's.
Oh, is it because it's one of the older versions?
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's CS5.
Okay.
It's my favorite one. It's my favorite version. It's because
Rufus.
I have so many shortcuts for softwares that I have to remember that I don't want to learn any new ones. Because I feel like they slightly update things like every time on Photoshop.
Everybody's saying
everyone is mind blown in the chat. Yeah.
But hey, like I always say, whatever works for you,
Exactly, yeah.
Start saying old school.
Mm-hmm.
That.
Yeah, I like doing things, I guess, quite unconventionally in Photoshop that some people might stick their nose up to, but it works for me, so that's what matters.
Well,
like using the eraser tool.
And what operating system are you using?
I'm on El Capitan,
Okay.
which I've had this machine since 2013, and it's still going.
All right.
I have a bunch of other computers that are PCs, but I don't have things like an external webcam for them. So it kind of just made sense to do it all on here. So we do have like mega computers for things like rendering, but this is the one that I use for, I guess, more chilled out stuff.
This is the chilled out stuff, guys.
Yeah, there's no like render farm required. Yeah.
Jackie's asking, do you just use the eraser to make your shapes?
A mixture, I would say. I love like I love the lasso tool. I love dodge and burn, just all the basic ones that I feel like are, I don't know, the standard tools. I don't know how you describe them.
Gabrielle, you will be able to see all of the replays as soon as this is over here on behance.net/live. They're all listed there. So no worries. If you missed the beginning, everything is here. And like I said, this is stream 33 with UK artists. So we have a big, nice collection of very talented people that we've met over the past weeks.
And plenty more. Tomorrow we'll have Tony back. And Friday will be off. We've mentioned this a couple of times. Without scratching again at this topic. But tomorrow's the last day of the week where we will see you, and we'll be back Monday to full schedule. Kat is saying merci. Yes, and Tony and myself won't be here tomorrow either. I'll be jumping onto the French stream, so that's happening.
Actually, you're not going to come at all?
I might not. I might come for a little bit and sneak peek with Tony. If it's fancy dress, but I wasn't in fancy dress last week, so
only on Fridays. Only on Fridays.
Oh, so Thursdays we're done, guys.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tony will be bringing the good old fancy dress anyway. And hi to everyone who's just joining us. Still seeing this grow. And we've had a lot of chat on Discord as well.
That's right.
Anyone who doesn't know about it, Rufus, yeah.
Yeah, maybe Tim, you can put the link in, but let me just check Adobe Live UK and where is my server settings? Members. We're over 150 members already on our Discord, and everybody's chatting about creativity and asking questions. Exactly, you know, what it should be. This is where we all come together after the streams. And yesterday I had like an impromptu Zoom meeting, you know, and only one person tried and didn't make it in, and James Howie did, and we chatted for a little while. And
yeah, you can just have a coffee with Rufus. Look at that,
like
extra behind the scenes.
Getting news from Lincoln.
And we had Joe who joined, and also Jing on Discord, so you can ask questions straight to the artists as well, which is great if you didn't catch something or want to poke at them a little bit more.
Oh, here's James. Yeah, we had a good chat. Hi, James. James, the graphic designer from Lincoln, like I said. Yep.
So it was a pure graphic design chat.
Yep.
Very exclusive.
And, you know, the situation and the future, the past, you know.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm really grateful that I've still been able to come to my studio since I live on my own, and I'm on my own here at the moment. So that's been nice to kind of have normalcy in that way.
Yeah, we were chatting about this yesterday as well. Just, this is about, people who are home with a family, but also people who are on their own and just want to connect and come in for a chat, which is great every day. And yeah, have a bit of a routine. Some people were saying they just watch this and put it in the background and paint their walls and do some DIY. So there's all sorts of things you can be doing. But hopefully you also get something useful out of this.
Yeah, I kind of feel like a monk at the moment. It's like you have your schedule, you do your work, go home and cook and read. It's very wholesome.
Some meditation included.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll all end up wiser.
Yeah, definitely.
We had some comments on your clear desktop already. Coming up
I
every
did
time you
tidy
tidy.
Yeah, I did.
Except that hard drive that Rufus was pointing out on your iceberg.
It's a Lucy disk. I had like tons of those.
Yes.
With the orange rubber around them. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I have a new one like every year, I'd say. And that's the key to having a machine this old, is you don't keep anything on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were designed by Philip Stark. No, were these the ones designed by Philip Stark? I'm not sure.
I think so.
Yeah. Then I had a few designed by Porsche. Do you see those?
No. Were they like silver and...
Yeah, very sleek. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now everything is in the cloud, so I don't need discs anymore.
Okay. Okay. Definitely spent probably too long on that first one, but never mind. Okay. What do we have?
Jackie's actually asking questions around this page where you're grabbing colors from and collage bits. She's asking if it's just loads of bits of images you put there.
Yeah, but they're all images that I made myself. So it was part of the kind of the work in progress of the content and the imagery that we were making around this character, which when in the installation, it went from being, a still image, there was some sculpture and then AR. So we kind of had to build this very well-rounded character. So it meant almost having like, I don't know, character files that we could just pull from that we knew would kind of exist within that language, because the deliverables and the things that we needed kept kind of changing or morphing based on certain requirements. So yeah, that's kind of like the mother file, as I would call it.
Some questions about the cloud setup. I love that Tony is now the fixing of everything. It's being thrown at him. And Catherine is saying, better to be upfront and honest, this group and the Adobe team are amazing. Thanks, Catherine.
Do you listen to music when you do that typically, or do you do that in silence?
No, I'll listen to music. I'll listen to either like 80s disco music or kind of ambient, chill, meditative music, I'd say. Those are the two modes.
Is that the atmosphere in the studio then?
Yeah.
I always loved having an office DJ. The Friday mood.
Yeah, totally.
I think people are finding this quite therapeutic.
Oh, good.
Meditative. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a word that I often use to describe my work. So that's interesting.
And we have Melanie who's joining us.
Oh, hey Melanie.
She said, great taste in music, Lucy.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's one we'll have to share on Discord. Some creative jams.
So Melanie is also helping us on the German streams, but she's a UI UX designer, art director, but she decided to follow her passion and become an illustrator. So she turned the page and now she does illustrations. Yeah.
Wow. Good for her.
Yes.
Ah.
Color.
And yes, you can see Melanie on the German screen, which have also been going for quite a few weeks, a little bit longer than the UK, but also on a...
Today we celebrated stream 38 from the sofa. And like I said, today we're going to test the first French stream here on Behance. So this is why I'm going to be leaving a little bit early today and leave you, Emma, with Lucy.
The girl gang will stay. Yes, we have some exciting projects on the French side. So I'll also be leaving a bit early tomorrow, but this is going. We're not stopping.
Nope.
And Yes, draw illusion. We're all on Behance chatting away. If you're watching from YouTube, jump on here.
That's right, draw illusion. That's why nobody's commenting on YouTube. You guys are here. Yes.
Yeah.
Like we're in another room.
Yeah, it looks.
You're like knocking on the door.
It's like
Yeah.
I want to chat.
when you have the wrong address for a party, you know.
Major FOMO. And we had someone, was it Sean, who's saying, I'm trying to learn German on the German stream. I'm doing the same. Like, I'm just on there, like, teach me your tricks. Jackie's asking, how many languages do you speak, Rufus? Please blow our minds.
Just 4.
Just 4.
Right? Yes, anyone wanting to learn French. You can also jump onto the French streams.
Exactly. Together with our host, Frank. The French Tim.
The French Tim.
So there are streams in Japan as well, but they're quite different. They're called, I think, Creative Cloud Dojo. Yeah, you can find them on YouTube, I think. Very different, but lovely.
Stuart is also trying to learn French. Making the most of lockdown. Have you picked up any random hobbies, Lucy?
I've been doing a lot more cycling.
That's good. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. What have I been doing?
You're like, what can I pick that's not embarrassing?
I've been trying to do more cooking. I've been trying to do more like workouts from live streams or YouTube.
Yep.
Which normally I wouldn't have the patience for, but now it's like can't go to the gym, so have to make this work.
So Lucy, I apologize, but I have to leave now. Emma will take over from now. And
absolutely.
Wow, thank you so much for this. It's very inspirational, and I will make sure to watch the end of this stream to see what, how it ended. So thanks for coming. And thank you in the community. I'll see you tomorrow with with Tony. Yeah. So see
you tomorrow, Rufus.
It's not over.
Yes.
Emma and Lucy are here. Okay. Bye.
Yep, we're sticking around, guys. Bye, Rufus. We're running a real TV show on here. We have several channels, and Rufus is jumping onto the French channel.
Yeah, I think
but guys, stay around.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Rufus. We're obviously the main show.
Absolutely. I mean, this can keep going forever.
Yeah, I think I'll be done with this bit soon, and then I was gonna take it into InDesign and kind of show how we do the final
adding in all the apps. This is brilliant. If you can add in one more, you've got a bonus.
Now I'm like trying to think.
Lightroom. I don't know. Always stick Lightroom. We should have some kind of challenge.
Yeah, how many apps can you use?
Like a hackathon.
Totally.
Is your work always nature inspired? Is that an important part of where you find inspiration, or?
I think it is, because there are so many amazing things in nature that you can kind of have a biomimicry approach to. nothing beats nature. Like, you know, you can
word of wisdom. This is what you take away today.
You can have imagination about things, but I feel like the core has to originate from something that exists on Earth as a philosophy. But I think what I was really excited about with this character that was called Mimicry was that it's about the metamorphosis of a cocoon to an insect, and how those insects, like praying mantises and orchid mantises, they look like something beautiful and delicate, but actually they are using that as a way to catch prey. So it's kind of this deception to it.
I feel like there's meaning around everything you do as well. And I wonder how you find all this inspiration in London, in the city.
I would say that I don't go into central London unless I have to.
Yeah, especially right now.
Yeah, or I just I like to cycle everywhere. Just like to, I don't know, keep my, I mean, I would much prefer to go to the library for inspiration than central London, you know?
Definitely.
Okay, so I'm going to save this.
Are we going to InDesign world now?
Yes.
Back to back.
So I thought it could be interesting for you guys to see a snippet of the process of the treatment side of things of this. So this is showing all the different elements that we put together for this one character, Mimicry. So this ended up being like probably a 30-page document as part of the creative treatment. But this is the first page where we describe what I was talking about earlier. So this idea of renewal and metamorphosis and catching prey to help describe the character. And then this is the mood board that we made for it, which obviously looks pixelated because it's like a proxy version on InDesign.
Yeah.
And then these are the different phases that we went through that we knew were going to be in the installation. So the still image, the physical form, and then the animation. And I think what really excited me about the AR was that there are so many, you know, boundaries and certain file sizes and things that you have to work around. But then that means that you can really kind of flex your problem solving skills and find ways to make something really simple actually feel complex, which I think was kind of the most fun for me. So these are some of the pages that we did. This was the page for the storyboard. And yeah, this is InDesign CC 2018, so it's not as old.
We're slowly moving forward in time.
Bit by bit, yeah.
Catching up. Someone earlier was mentioning teleportation, that I've moved back from Rufus's living room or kitchen. Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun with Zoom backgrounds the past couple sessions, keeping these entertaining. Back to InDesign. Tony gave us a great InDesign session last week on interactive.
Yeah, he does loads of sessions with you guys, doesn't he?
Yeah, so Tony's with us every Friday. He's a regular and just covers everything really. And he'll be back tomorrow for some more to wrap up the week. And a Friday off for us, but we'll still be on Discord and everyone's chatting away on there, so feel free to join us and chat with everyone for the long weekend. The Tony Harmer Show, that's right, Robert.
Yeah, so again, fairly simple, basic InDesign techniques, but it's a great way to kind of make things feel it's the whole process of today has just been from taking those original sketches, your original ideas, and turning them into something that feels like smart and professional and full of life.
And I also saw that you had some glass sculptures, and you also go into, you know, commissions that are also tangible and real. And this kind of stepping from real to, you know, digital is something that you play with quite a lot. And I guess when you go out to nature and take photos and images and inspire yourself from that color palette, you're constantly jumping from surreal to real and blurring that line.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that area of the user not knowing the origin of it, whether it's digital or it's real. I did a talk in Rotterdam a couple years ago, and the woman that brought me in to do the talk, she thought that my glass sculptures were fake and that they were rendered and they were completely digital. I was like, no, these are real. So that's kind of what I love, is playing with that perception of how people see the virtual, because it's not going to go anywhere. So it's kind of about figuring out ways to make it feel more integrated into our life and visual communication. Because I think especially with things like AR, things are becoming more seamless and there's less separation between, say, print advertising and digital and AR triggers and all that kind of fun stuff that can add extra layers.
Definitely. And art becomes a bit more visceral as well, right? It's an experience as opposed to just consuming it neutrally or...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Brilliant. We've gone really deep today. Stuart is saying ace work, AR is the next step. And yeah, next step. So what is kind of something that you haven't tried yet, or what are you exploring this year? I guess you have a lot of time now being home to test things out that are not just cycling and trying live classes.
It's funny because we've still been busy here because obviously people are still consuming the digital. So we've had a lot of, you know, potential clients come to us saying we want to do more digital stuff. How do we go about it, etc. But I'm still really excited by things that are responsive in real time and feel like the user can have a kind of transformative moment during it. So maybe things that are web-based and feel like video games, for example. So at the moment, I'm working on a new website that's self-initiated, that we're planning on basically having this kind of web ecosystem to it, where I provide one input and the audience provides another input. So it's this kind of constantly changing landscape. That's something that I'm really excited about, that we've been working on since the beginning of the year. And working on that other project, Calistasis, that I mentioned in VR, that's been really exciting because sometimes you can make a piece of work that you don't know how that's going to transfer into AR, how it's going to feel, because it's a very different experience, like a headset. So that's been going really well, which has been really exciting. And then just trying out new softwares like Unreal Engine to help us do mega render stuff. That's kind of what's exciting us at the moment.
Sounds brilliant. You can totally nerd out on all of these. And Rufus is still here in the chat saying that he'll be trying Aero, which is also a lot of fun. So plenty of other apps to dig into. And AR is augmented reality. Some people are asking AR, VR, a couple of definitions before we go. But we're just about time, really. And we've covered a lot, from all the way from capture to InDesign. And if you had any final words, but I feel like you wrapped it up really well with your kind of excitement for new projects this year. But thanks, Lucy.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. This has been really fun to just have a chat, and sounds like this has been a relaxing experience for the viewers, which is a bonus.
Definitely. Everyone's super inspired and excited to try capture again. We had to leave Rufus a little bit earlier today, but he's back tomorrow, so don't you worry. And Tony Harmer's show, probably in fancy dress, I hope so, will be back tomorrow for our last session of the week. Conversation carries on Discord, and we'll see you all tomorrow at 12. Thanks, Lucy, again. And thanks
you.
everyone.
Bye.